Mama just won't see.
Did he come in?
Yeah, I just said, and it's 6 o'clock.
Okay. All righty. Let's call this meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock, and we'll have a call to order and a roll call.
Councilmember Tina Holman.
Here.
Councilmember Paul Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Bruce Kay.
Here.
Mayor Danny Renaud.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas Tyler. Councilmember Kurt Woodard.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem William Bass.
Here.
William Bass, our council member, our Mayor Pro Tem, is going to lead us in the pledge and the prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, granted, thank you for allowing us to meet tonight. We pray, hope and pray that you give us knowledge and courage to make the right decisions for the city. Amen.
We have a couple of proclamations now that we are going to present. In honor of Child Abuse Awareness Month, and also, well, both of them relate to the same thing. They're Child Abuse Prevention Month. And I'm going to start out with the one to the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Proclamation, Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, April 2026. Whereas in federal fiscal year 2025, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services confirmed 51,985 victims of child abuse and neglect, including 117 in Hardin County. And whereas our children are our most valuable resource and shape our future, the child abuse and neglect are serious problems affecting every segment of our community and has long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that can have lifelong consequences for victims. Additionally, the impact of abuse and neglect has long-term personal, economic, and social costs. Whereas hurting the future of our community, and whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families, and whereas finding solutions requires input and action from everyone in our community. And we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, nurturing environment. Whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the meaningful connections and partnerships created between child welfare, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses and law enforcement agencies. Volunteer communities must make every effort to encourage volunteerism and promote programs and activities that benefit children and their families. Whereas the court-appointed special advocates, CASA volunteers, are assigned by the court to speak up for a child's best interest and help ensure a child's voice is heard. Every child in foster care deserves a CASA volunteer, but roughly less than half of the children in care do not have a CASA volunteer. Whereas CASA of the Sabine Natchez region, Child Protective Services, Child Advocacy Centers, foster parents, teachers, and others work to ensure the children in our community have a safe, happy future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Danny Renaud, Mayor of Silsbee, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month in Hardin County, and will urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating themselves to the task of improving quality of life for all children and their families. If the CASA volunteer could come forward.
What about animals getting killed now?
You're out of order.
You're out of order. I mean, it's coming up, man.
Okay.
I ain't playing, Jay.
What?
Do you mind us getting a picture here in a minute?
Yeah. Do you want, are you with the county group?
Yes.
Okay, do you want me to read yours too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Last time.
Okay. Whereas child abuse and neglect are complex and ongoing problems in our society affecting many children in Hardin County, and whereas every child is entitled to feel secure, be nurtured, loved, cared for, and be free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect, and whereas it is the responsibility of every adult who comes in contact with a child to protect that child's right to a safe and nurturing childhood, and whereas Hardin County has dedicated individuals and organizations who work daily to counter the problem of child mistreatment and to help parents obtain the assistance they need, and whereas our communities are stronger when all citizens become aware of child abuse prevention and become involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment, and whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of the partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, state and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and business community, and therefore be it resolved that I, Daniel Renault, Mayor of Silsbee, of the City of Silsbee, Hardin County, do proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and hereby encourage all citizens to renew their commitment to preventing child abuse and neglect. Okay, now Dan, can you take a picture of them?
I get a picture also.
It doesn't matter, I'll go over with them. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you, ladies, for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
monthly standard.
Right.
I mean, there is a couple, if you look, of $3,000 or $4,000 bills, but they're sewer pipe and,
See that.
things that they needed. She
Now that-
tries to give a little explanation underneath it.
That sludge haul
Sir,
off, that sludge haul off at 1,750, was that, how many trips was that?
what page do you see that?
Page three. It's right above what you were telling me about the other sanitation, the commercial and residential.
1750. Okay, it says,
Sludge haul off.
140 water,
do you know how many calls they took on? I don't know offhand without looking at the bill.
$1,300 a haul, so
13,
$1,300 a haul. How much is it? I don't have a.
it's 1750 on the paper,
17, that's one haul.
so it's
1750
1750.
is one haul.
Was that from the sewer plant? Is that
Yeah,
stuff?
that's a sewer plant, the surge.
Okay,
All right. I make a motion that we approve the expenditure.
I second that.
I can look tomorrow
I was
to
just
make
curious.
sure that it's just one.
okay. Item 6, discussion.
You know?
Oh, we got a vote on that. Do we have a motion?
I made a motion.
We got a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, item 6, discussion and possible action on approving the minutes of the February 23, 2026 and March 12, 2026 meetings. Deanne, do you have anything to say about that?
No, sir, they were given out to y'all in the packet, for y'all to see.
I make the motion, we approve the minutes. March, February 23rd, 2026, and March 12th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on it? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. I'm trying to kind of reach a little compromise. We had a couple of different things that people are wanting us to do here. Item 7 is consent agenda items. Let's go ahead and take care of them. Do you want to do them as a group, or do you want to,
So as a group.
okay,
Just give me.
anybody have any complaints about that?
Give me, go ahead
Okay.
and do the price.
Item 1, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 202-601-731 from LJA Engineering in the amount of $673.98 for engineering services rendered for the city of Silsbee GLO-CDR critical infrastructure generators. Discussion and possible action on approving pay request number 4 in the amount of $113,047.20 to Experts Underground Solutions LLC for the 2023 TX CDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project in Pine Shadows. Item 3, discussion and possible action on approving change order number 2 in the amount of $7,125 to Experts Underground Solutions LLC for the 2023 TXCDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project in Pine Shadows. Item 4, discussion and possible action on approving final pay request in the amount of $42,996 to Experts Underground Solutions LLC for the 2023 TXCDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project in Pine Shadows. Item 5, discussion and possible action on approving certificate of construction completion for the work completed on 2023 TXCDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project in Pine Shadows by Experts Underground Solutions. Item 6, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 202-607-564 from LJA Engineering in the amount of $667.66 for engineering services rendered for the SCADA 2021 Sewer Sanitation Rehabilitation Project. Item 7, Discussion and possible action on invoice number 202-607-565 from LGA Engineering in the amount of $471.39 for engineering services rendered for the City of Silsbee GLO-CDR Critical Infrastructure Grant. This is for generators. Item 8, discussion and possible action on invoice number 202-607-66 from LJA Engineering in the amount of $83,925.62 for engineering services rendered for the City of Silsbee 2025 Phase 1 and 3 sanitary sewer project improvements. Now, all these are things we already voted to do, now we just are voting to pay the bill, okay?
And Mayor, I wanted to make sure that you realized on number 3,
Yeah.
that's actually a negative 7,125. And I didn't hear you say that because it's change order eventually.
Which
The other
one
way
is that?
around this time, it's
Number
a
three?
lowering of the price this time.
Okay, I didn't see that, okay. So they were $7,000 cheaper than they thought?
Yes, sir.
All right,
I make a motion that we approve, consent agenda items 1 through 8. Pay the money.
okay, we have a motion and a second, is there any discussion on it?
Who seconded it?
Okay,
Roger, do you know, did y'all go out by any chance look at the property on Pine Shadow
Yes, we've already done a final punch list and everything on Pine Shadow, yes.
in a heavy rain? Do you know if y'all went out there and checked?
I haven't been back out there since it rained last night, no, the first rain, it was fine, but I didn't check last night. I'll check it in the morning.
I was out there after heavy rain here a while back and it was
They
washing out.
fixed a lot of that, but.
They did fix it?
Yeah, they did fix a lot of that, yes.
Thank you.
okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. He said first go ahead. He said I can make this decision, but first go ahead and hear him first. I don't agree with it. Well, okay, three of you don't agree with it, then we'll go this way. Okay, we have, 3 councilmen that would like to go into executive session and,
Before we handle items to be considered.
before we handle items to be considered. And, we're going into executive session for personnel,
Read the items on the.
item A, pursuant to Texas Code, Government Codes, section 551.074, A, 1, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, and dismissal of public officer or employee. B, pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.071(1)A, to consult with the city attorney on pending and complicated litigation. Okay? Okay, so we probably won't be in there real long, but when we get back out, we're gonna continue with the meeting. Okay, we're going into executive session at 6:19.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Keep it live.
Yeah, like that. It's outdoor. It's right on the west. It's pretty
Last week, they turned me into a mean buggy. Yeah, when you were panning the camera around.
call this meeting back to order. Well, we guess we need to wait on our other two people to get back in here.
So I got off pretty good.
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting back to order at 7:12 PM on March the 16th. And so the meeting is now back in session. And we're gonna start out with our public, people having a chance to give their public address. Now, request for comment during Silsbee City Council meetings. Your city council welcomes your thoughts on subjects regarding city matters. Our meetings are recorded, therefore certain rules are necessary to conduct business in any orderly fashion. Those wishing to speak must complete this form and present it to the city secretary prior to the beginning of the meeting. Please print your name legibly, as your name will go in the records in our minutes. When you are recognized, please come forward and speak directly into the microphone in the center of the room. At the beginning of your comments, state your name, address for the record. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. The presiding officer will notify you when your time is about to expire. Comments of a personal nature are not appropriate and will not be heard. Speakers may not make allegations concerning the character and capability of any council member, employee, and citizens of the city of Silsbee. I would ask that you give these people a degree of respect, because they're elected by their citizens, their peers, to serve up here, and they get paid $38 a month to do that. And so that I would ask you to be respectful of them. Okay? The first one that gets to speak is Cheryl Bean.
Hello. First, I wanted to say that I'm grateful for living in my name is Cheryl Bean. I want to say I'm grateful for living in a country where we have freedom of speech, because some countries wouldn't allow us to say anything. We could just
Ms. Dean,
put
what's
up
your
with it.
address? I'm sorry
Thank
to
you,
interrupt.
God.
What's your address? For the record, you said
Oh,
Cheryl Dean, and your address,
P.O. Box 442.
no physical address?
I do.
Would you please give it?
140 Forest and Coots.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. Of course, I'm going to speak about what's been happening with the situation with the animals, and I'm an animal lover, and everybody who knows me knows that. I wanted to say that it's been a very tragic situation in many ways, but it really isn't unusual, because we have an overwhelming problem with animals, because there's so many animals out there, and for a number of reasons. Not everybody who owns an animal is a bad person, but some people cannot afford to have the animal spayed and neutered. My dog weighs 50 pounds, and it cost me $150 to have her spayed. I had a dog, a male dog, it cost $100, and I questioned, why would 4 snips cost $100? But anyway, so not everybody can afford to pay for that. And I would reach out that the veterinarians in this area would help us. If every veterinarian could just one day a month, do a free spay and neuter, that would make a huge difference. I know that there's some people, no matter what you do, they would never do it. They would never take their dog or cat to be taken care of. But I'm speaking to those that are responsible owners. And I want to say that Silsbee has been labeled and tarred by this incident, and I Googled it online, and I mean immediately, here comes the 1995 case where the horse was tortured and murdered by juveniles, 8 to 14 years of age, in Silsbee, Texas. And oh my God, and I was living in Houston at the time, and I had people telling me, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with that town? And I said, what's wrong with this town we're living in? I mean, they have a lot more crime than Silsbee ever had in 100 years. So, I don't know what happened to them. I did try to find out, and I learned that they're juvenile at the time, and the records are sealed. Even though they're down in their 30s and 40s, the record's still sealed. But we should work together. I recommend the city council, people in the city, get with these animal advocates and say, look, let's talk. Let's find a way to resolve this situation as best we can. Get with the veterinarians, get them to bring down the prices, call up Wayne McDaniel and our county judge and other city officials, and say, this is a problem that we can solve in Hardin County, a rural area, if we would just do it, if we would just resolve and not go after each other. And I don't know Josh, and I pray for him. I met him one time on the phone, he seemed very nice, but you know, I don't like to kick people when they're down. I don't like to do that. I just don't. I'm not gonna kick him when he's down, I'm not gonna kick him at all. I don't like what happened, but I don't like what happened to the horse in 1995, and I don't know how many of you were here then, but most of us that heard about it remember it, and it was a horrible case. But hopefully Silsbee can learn from these things and say, we're not bad people, we're not murdering people. We're people who are out there working and trying to make a living, and we'll try to do the best for our animals. Because the Bible says in Proverbs 12:10, the righteous man regards the life of his beast. And I regard the life of my animals. And I've never had any of my animals ever say to me, I'm gonna go live with a younger owner. Because they've always been loyal to me to the death. I mean, they're just my babies. And an animal gives you a great deal. And I think we should give them a great deal back. But I also don't believe in throwing somebody under the bus either, if that's what's happened. But let's just work together as a county and get together and try to resolve all these unbridled animals running around. And get with the veterinarians, please bring down your prices, please, because that would help a lot of people. And each and every one of you is, you know, some of you get paid, some of you don't get a red dime, you don't get any money. I know some of you do, but work together anyway and try to resolve this, because this has really been a very hurtful thing for a lot of people, and I don't want to see people hurt. You know, is it almost up?
It's almost up.
Okay, well, anyway, I'll just,
From now on, I'll hold up my hand where it's
okay,
1 minute left.
all right, just wait a minute. But, you know, I'll just pray for all of you, because I know that I'm an animal lover, as I've said, and everybody knows that. And we have some good people here who are like Anna's Angels and other rescue services. Anna takes dogs up to Canada, and she doesn't make any money out of it. You know, she's taken, I don't know, 30 dogs, 30 trips up there. And that's amazing to me, you know, to try to help out the population. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's still a drop. And I would just encourage all of us to just put down our swords, put down our spears, sit down at the table, Mama Jack's or Joe's or whoever you want to go to, and sit there and have a talk about this.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bean.
Okay.
Mona Moore. Mona Moore. Okay, thank you.
Hey, I wasn't expecting that on TV tonight, but excuse my voice. And my name is Mona Moore. Do I really have to get my address?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Because
what
everybody up there
we're
knows
here.
where I live. But I live here in the city of Silsbee, the city limits, and 260 Pine Street. And I'm not here to bash none of you guys. I just want to make a statement. The dog that Miss Michelle had in the basket last Monday, that was my dog, and the 5 puppies. That I given to Josh to rehome. He told me when I spoke with him on the phone that that's what he could do. I did not know that Josh was gonna take the dog and kill her and drown the puppies. I did not know that. Had I been aware of that's what he was going to do, they would have stayed with me. Because I'm an animal lover. I have my own dog and my cat. That particular dog was for my nephew. But I did not know she was pregnant. You know, and how can someone take an animal's life like that. She wasn't cruel, she wasn't aggressive, she was friendly. And the puppies were too. And it hurts me because I released her to him. And this is what happened to her. So I'm not gonna take no more of you guys' time. I just wanna address, and maybe one of you guys can ask him why. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Ainsworth.
Hi there, I'm Karen Ainsworth, 3005 Sugar Maple. I have quite a few questions and just letting you know if they're not allowed to be asked. It was just,
Did you give your address?
yes, sir, it's the second thing I said.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And my glasses so I can see my writing.
The sugar maple one too?
No, sir,
Okay.
it's
what
Hardin
county?
County.
Ma'am?
It's Hardin County.
Oh, okay, got it.
Go ahead.
I guess the first thing that pops in my head about this whole situation is the last sentence when we do our Pledge of Allegiance is justice for all. That's the heartbreaking part, is we're the ones, we feel like we're the only ones trying to give justice for all these animals. The last count was 22 or 24. But I'm sorry, I truly believe in this past year, that number is so much higher. That's just what was found, when Michelle showed up that day. That's just, it's heart-wrenching. The next question is, the council members that were supposed to be in charge over this shelter, what was their platform promise when they were elected? And what happened to those promises? Council members are supposed to be the contact and the voice for the people. Many residents have tried to get help and either were ignored or pushed aside. Who was Josh Nolan's boss and their boss? Why is it taken for Michelle to find all these bodies for something like this to be known of? At the last meeting last week, we were told we never knew anything about this. Can you understand why we don't really believe that? Are inspections supposed to be done for federal, state, and city funds to be approved for the shelter? Why is Mr. Nolan, the decision maker for the lives of these animals? As a previous vet tech, only a vet is allowed to euthanize a dog. So there may be laws that I don't know about that this person, Mr. Nolan, whatever his position, has the same right as a doctor to make that decision to kill an animal, and especially in the manner that they were killed. Why was the public not allowed inside the shelter? Where's the computer that the tax dollars paid for? How did the soaking wet puppies in the crate die? I mean, you can only imagine they weren't put in there dead. Can you imagine what they went through? All those puppies, they were soaking wet when they were found. Why was there not working water inside the shelter? Mr. Mayor, you're ultimately responsible. Even though you say you weren't aware of it, you're ultimately responsible for every single person and department under City Hall. Josh Nolan's boss should be held responsible as well as Josh. He is not alone. and that person's boss should be held responsible. Somebody should have been showing up at the shelter. Where are the accounting books for the shelter? The accountant, the CPA, the CFO. They're also responsible for obvious invalid books. Where's all the money going that was supposed to be allocated for the shelter? Because obviously it wasn't being used for the shelter.
You have 24 seconds.
How was it voted by and by whom to how much money for the budget for the shelter? Food, water, electric, vet care, crates, blankets, leashes. At what point does one say when they see a coworker or a so-called buddy doing something illegal or unethical, when do they speak up? Thank you very much. My name is Karen Ainsworth.
Thank you. Okay.
It's considered Silsbee.
Renee Anthony Sims.
As y'all know, I spoke last week, and
You got your-
I'm sorry, Renee Anthony Sims, and actually, on the laws, you do not have to give physical address at these places.
Actually, yeah,
You do.
we wouldn't be having you do it, I promise, if it wasn't the law. I didn't agree with it either.
It's in there.
It's been like that for decades.
And y'all's
You can shake
charter
your head all
in
you
the
want.
state of
It's
Texas.
the law.
It says,
you
because
wanted
we could get a lot of trouble, people come after us,
Well,
because
do
they're
you think
animals.
Well, I got death threats this weekend, so, and emails,
If,
so.
ma'am, if you want to give your,
You wanna raise your voice, you better back down.
Hey, you're good.
Hey,
I don't know who said that, but
I did.
Okay, well now you're interrupting a public
go
meeting.
ahead, take it,
You're
guys.
disrupting a meeting.
no, no, don't.
Okay,
Okay, 3801 Country Lane here in Silsbee, Texas.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I just feel like things are not being done like they should be with the shelter, trying to take in, and Josh, when I met him, like I told y'all last week, he seemed like he was doing a good job at first. But his boss, I don't know what else going on, and you don't have to do donation drugs, and then they'll say y'all are no kill shelter. So I remember, 3, ACOs back, he had to go to Austin and get his certificate for the euthanasia meds. I believe it was Daniel. I can't remember his last name, I'd have to go look it up. Anyway, so what I'm here for is we need to hold who is accountability. What Karen just said, she spoke a lot of what I feel like. So I want accountability. I love Josh. I felt like he was a good guy, but he had been told what to do to get rid of these animals. And it don't just go from his boss, it goes all the way back to you, Mayor. You are over the city. You should be knowing what is going on in your city. We have a lot of animals. Do I? Yes, sir?
Go ahead, finish, go
Okay.
ahead.
It's just, there's a lot of animal advocates out here, and we're taking care of these animals that Josh didn't even pick up. There's other ones don't. Ones that are baby, hand-fed. Guess where the money's coming from? Out of our pockets. Do you think we do this for our life, our health? No. You know, God put these animals on earth for a reason. And we should be taking care of these animals. People should not be abusing the animals. There should be tickets written for people that abuse them. There should be tickets written for no rabies. Y'all could be pocketing this money to the city to help get this population problem down. We could work with you. We have so many ideals. We just need y'all to say, hey, okay, let's have a meeting. Y'all come in and let's sit down and let's just talk, like somebody said, Joe's or wherever there's a, you know, and if we be people, be nice to each other. We're doing it for the animals, and I don't want nothing bad to happen to Josh. He seemed like a really good guy, but I feel like there was people telling me what to do. I don't think he wanted to, because the Josh I met, he felt like he was an animal. That's pretty much, the other lady has spoke, and the other ones, but I know. That's good. Well, it's just the same thing over and over. We want to get the city under control with all these strays. I want people, if they're saw dumping and people have license plates, go after them. They're part of the problem. It's not the animal's fault. It's people that don't and don't want to take responsibility for them. And it all lands on people that do care, and then out of our pockets, I'd rather feed the animals than feed myself. That's how bad it is. And again, like I told you last week, we have 13 right now in our care. 6 are fosters, 7 is ours. 4 are going to Canada tomorrow. That's where most of the animals go. I wish y'all would look into all what everybody's suggestion, you know. Thank y'all.
Thank you. You know, a lot of us, kind of like you guys, we love animals. I've got 4 old beasts that I take care of every day and feed them and try to keep them alive. And that's, you know, we're doing the best we can with that. Okay. Susan Lynn.
Didn't want to give my address, but since you guys are gonna make us, it's 8048, FM 1122, Silsbee. First of all, I'm just gonna get it out of the way. I don't really understand the animosity that I see coming from some of the members up here toward us.
Same.
We didn't do.
Trust me, same.
Okay, but the thing is that we didn't take these positions, you guys did. So you know that when you come to work, you're gonna have days where people are mad. I waited tables my entire life. I had customers that were nice, customers that were mad. I dealt with it, because that's my job. So, and everybody who else works in the public, deal with it. Making us feel like that we did something wrong by coming up here and asking questions is ridiculous. And mainly you.
Sorry you feel that.
Well,
You
kind of hard to feel that.
Yeah.
You don't even live in the city limits.
Hey, Tom.
It should
Oh,
be.
sorry.
No.
Everybody, let her speak.
But
We'll
you
give
guys
you another
speak.
minute, ma'am.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, everyone talks about the population, and there's dump areas. We all know dump areas. You can buy a camera and sit up in these areas and catch these people if people really wanted to. Then you wouldn't have the need for all of the shelters being full, for all puppies being drowned and all this stuff, because you'd be holding the people who are creating the crisis accountable beforehand. Letting the dogs, because even though you all want to do the city, county limit thing, if you think that these dogs that roam, that they just stay in the city and they just stay in the country because they know that line, oh, I was dumped in the county, so I'm going to stay in here, or I was dumped in the city, so I'm going to stay over here. Those dogs, they go back and forth, they're all over the place. You know, people pick them up and they dump them. There's a dog right now in Vider that was actually in Silsbee. But yet, to say that you can't take a dog here, take a dog there, to get it help because that's not in the city limits or wherever it's insane to me, but whatever. So today you said that you guys were going to get an answer whether it was a kill or no kill shelter. So is Silsbee a kill or no kill shelter?
We'll go over that
We're going to go over it when?
later. When we're
It's
not
part of
here.
our meeting, part of our agenda.
On the agenda.
Yes.
So before we all walk, we have to say it
Yes.
all the time, okay. The other thing is that we were told that I don't want to call Josh out either, but
Shake your head all you want.
What's wrong with you?
Come on.
so, anyway, Josh supposedly has another job already. a full-time job, and he had it before he was fired or let go or resigned or whatever. How did that man do 2 full-time jobs? And then he's never there when we go by to try to see the animals. You know, he was posting the animals, he was told by somebody, one of y'all, is what we were told, that he could not post the animals online. If that's not true, then it needs to be brought to attention to somebody that y'all were okay with that. But you don't have a webpage, do you, that we can see, of dogs that are picked up? Is this your dog? You know, kind of like every other shelter does. Is this dog belong to you? You have how many days to figure it out? The fact that there's no sign, like I said, when you're driving through town, that says there's a Silsbee shelter this way, pointing you in the right directions, have people that I've seen online say they didn't even know that y'all had a shelter. And that's just crazy to me. Why don't you ask for grants? Butter itself, I just went back and they had a post seeking donations from the public, but yet you guys are denying the citizens here or the animals here those donations to get help. I don't understand that either. And now, inspections. So when does a shelter get inspections? All of these talking about how nasty it was, how gross it was, the photos, all those things that, you know, obviously we can't bring up evidence here to show you, but you guys know. How often was it checked out? What was his oversight? When did he ever have to have a boss walk in and, you know, and show what he was doing? And the fact that there was no water. If that was the case, why did somebody not know that? I talked to somebody else that said that, yeah, it had hot water, it just didn't have cold water. And that's not an issue when you're cleaning out kennels and giving dogs water. They have cold water, not hot. And you don't want the volunteers, the public, to help you all do that when we would. Every one of us that have been up here would help do these things. We're not up here to criticize you guys for doing and stand here and do absolutely nothing. The reason that we're here is because we're wanting to do something and you're not doing it. The roaming dogs, you know, that create litter after litter. Do you know that you're talking about money? But if you find people for leaving their dogs around every time they got picked up, eventually those people would get responsible. Don't you think? Fine them so much money. That would bring revenue into your county to help with this problem. But instead, it's just nothing is getting enforced. There's so many laws on these things of not roaming dogs, but yet you allow it to happen.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
In the budget, you spoke online about a $100K budget, but where did it go? Where did the public go to see where that money was spent? It just shows it was there, what you spent on a couple of things, but then it drops down to another budget line. But what is it, where do you hold accountability for what you're spending the money on? So that the public can see. I mean, and
That's a lot of money.
and the main thing, it's not just cats and dogs, it's not just dogs, it's cats and it's horses. All of these animals that are getting mistreated, and then when people call in to ask for help regarding these issues, they get told they can't be helped. So who is the one that you call to get help whenever you see an animal cruelty case? Because if we don't have a shelter, or even if the shelter is full, he doesn't let you take animals there. It's only the ones that he goes and picks up. So what do we do in an animal situation when you see it? My son watched a person throw a dog out over there by that video place, and he picked it up, and I went and got it, and I had to help get it home. But we watched it. He could have gotten a license plate, but I was told God don't hold anybody accountable for anything, so what was the point? And then when I did call, I called in, I told him where I was in the line going down 92 to 96, and okay, I called the city. No, that's the sheriff's department. Call the sheriff, there ain't nothing they can do, because it's the county, and they don't do nothing. So, the grants, does anybody seek grants? Y'all seek grants for all this other stuff? Do you seek any of the grants that Texas provides for helping the dogs? If you don't have the money for it, or you don't want people to do drives, can you get grants and build a different facility?
Okay, ma'am, you're 6 minutes now.
Okay, thank you.
I got it. Mr. Frank, could you go ahead and read what you got? I think if you read what we got, it'll limit
Okay, are you guys in agreement with that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, discussion and possible action on policy and procedure for the Silsbee Animal Control Facility, item 5.
All right, so in your packets, you have, that whole sort of pack of paperwork that starts with the executive summary and it goes on. There's a standard operating procedure for the Silsbee Animal Control Facility, and there's some intake form, there's a packet of forms and some documentation in there. Basically, we kind of, between myself and the city manager and Mr. Martin, looked at some of the policies and procedures for Silsbee and decided that, or for the animal control facility, and decided that they were horribly lacking, and so we put together an SOP for the facility that hopefully will help guide the operation of the facility going forward. I'll just read the executive summary and I'll sort of give some highlights and some notes on that. The Silsbee Animal Control Facility SOP establishes protocols for a municipal no-kill shelter in Silsbee, Texas, Hardin County, population less than 75,000, focused on humane care, holding, and adoption of impounded dogs. It complies with Texas Health and Safety Code Chapters 826 for rabies and 822 of Regulation of Animals, local ordinances, and general municipal authority under local government code. As a no-kill facility, it maintains a greater than 90% live release rate, limiting euthanasia to cases of irremediable suffering or imminent public safety threats determined by a veterinarian and rabies control authority. Chapter 823 does not apply due to county population. So the scope and definitions applicable to all personnel, the SOP covers only dogs collected by the animal control officer, no public drop-off or surrenders. Key definitions include ACO, which is responsible for impoundment, intake, and adoption lead. The no-kill policy, which means that the 90% live release. That no-kill definition is based on the ASPCA and Humane Society definition of no-kill, which is 90% live release. So you try and stay, you stay greater than 90% live release, and euthanasia is only used in cases where it's a horribly sick animal or an animal that is determined to be a danger to the public, or danger, basically unadoptable. And there are going to be procedures in the SOP to determine those things. There's for the irremediable health, there's a veterinarian procedure, so you take it to the veterinarian to make sure that the vet signs off on this dog can't be treated, so it needs to be euthanized. Or in cases of the behavioral, there are supervisory check-offs. So it basically, the animal control officer doesn't just get to say, oh, this is a mean dog, we're going to put it down. He actually has to present that and go to his supervisor and present the case there. This is an impoundment-only facility. It's for confinement of strays. It's limited. It's limited acceptance. We don't have the bandwidth or the funding at this time to accept every animal. We can only accept at this point animals that are strays in the city of Silsbee. So one of the guiding principles is going to be the 72-hour reclamation period. So we give everybody 72 hours before the animal is available for adoption. And so roles and responsibilities: Director of Public Works is going to be overseeing the animal control officer. The animal control officer is going to be facility manager, staff, and animal control, so he's gonna overlap roles. He's gonna be in charge of impoundments, intakes, adoption, security, sanitation, overseeing operations and records, assisting with animal care. We will have a local veterinarian to assist with contracted care and vaccinations. The key procedures in this are going to be intake, so the admin ACO collected dogs only, assess microchip and health, so, you know, one of the things that's important, a lot of dogs these days are microchipped, so we need to make sure that the ACO is scanning for chips. And then also doing the animal control officer needs to do an initial health check on that dog to make sure that it looks healthy before he puts it in, and then if it doesn't look healthy, he takes it to the vet, otherwise he puts it in the kennel. Documents the details of the intake, quarantines for rabies if needed, so there's part of this is, if there's a dog bite, in a lot of cases, the dogs need to be quarantined. If they don't know that the dog has been vaccinated for rabies, then the dog needs to be quarantined in a special way. Even if it has been vaccinated, it still needs to be quarantined in a different way. So all of that is kind of laid out in the policies and procedures. So in terms of holding and care, there's a 72-hour hold with public notices before it's available for adoption. So the dog comes in. We put it on the Facebook?
Facebook page.
Yeah, so you put it on the Facebook page, that the dogs, we found this dog, is it your dog? And hopefully, I mean, if it's chipped, then you just contact the owner. There's, you know, daily feeding, watering, exercise, all of that. There's, monitoring. There's logs of all of this stuff that need to be completed on a daily basis, and this is, all of the logs and the records are part of the policies and procedures, so this is very laid out, and there's gonna be an audit process, so Roger will have a regular audit responsibility, or the Director of Public Works will have a regular audit responsibility, so that we have some accountability there. We're gonna require vaccination, proof of rabies vaccinations before people come and reclaim their dog, and then they pay the fees. You know, somebody brought up a really good point that I didn't even really think about, but ticketing. I mean, we do have a leash law. We do have mechanisms in place to discourage dogs at large, and I didn't even put that in there. And so we're not voting on this tonight, so because I wanted you guys to have a chance to go over it and make any suggestions or changes, and we can talk about it in the next meeting, and then really get into it, then we'll finish it up in the next meeting. But that might be one of the things that we put in there is that, you know, citations. And like I said, I didn't really even contemplate that because I just wasn't thinking about that at the time, honestly. I was I've never put together something like this before, so I was winging it. Adoption, post unclaimed dogs on Facebook, screen applicants, prepare vet-wise, sign the contracts, collect the fees, there's transfer instructions. Then in terms of the no-kill and euthanasia commitment, we want to partner up for transfers. I mean, you know, the no-kill commitment is kind of a big deal, and in terms of that, from the research that I did, it's not that easy to just have a no-kill commitment because you're gonna take in a lot of dogs. And so having the no-kill commitment doesn't just mean, you can't just hold on to every dog that you get. And if you're not gonna euthanize dogs, that means that we're gonna have to do some work on partnerships with other organizations that are more equipped to take dogs.
We're discussing right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, hey, just so everyone's aware, you know, there's a lot of people that have said, hey, they wanna help out. We're trying to fix this, okay? Like, we're here to try to fix this, so please know, like, I'm just as upset about everything that happened here as you guys are. I have 2 dogs that are my best friends and part of my family. You know, and that horse she was talking about, that was my uncle's horse. Like, I understand how upset you guys are. So no, we are on your side, we want to see change. Okay, but change doesn't happen like that. We have to have the ability to look at this stuff and to fix it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
We really appreciate you, but it sounds like we've had so many people coming up here complaining about the problem, and nothing was done. But I love you for coming up to that, and I appreciate you. I know a couple of you up there. Mr. Mayor, I still don't have any respect for you, and I'm sorry. Maybe that could change, but I don't.
Ma'am, you're out of order.
Look, we're trying to help.
I know you are. I know.
Here's the opportunity to do that. That's all we're asking.
All right, so we euthanize as only as a last resort per some guidelines that are in here. Like I said, there's gonna be, you know, if it's a medical issue, then the veterinarian needs to sign off on the veterinarian. I mean, one of the problems that Josh reported was the veterinarian would only euthanize sick dogs, he wouldn't euthanize mean dogs. And so, and that's, we will stick with that. The veterinarian can euthanize the dogs that are too ill to be, to leave the shelter. The euthanasia guidelines are pretty well laid out. I mean, they're veterinarian approved, humane methods like sodium pentobarbital. The animal control officers do go through an annual training. That's a requirement, and they are allowed to use sodium pentobarbital to euthanize. That actually, they are allowed to euthanize under the correct conditions. They, but I mean, we don't want that just making them that. We don't want him just making, or whoever the new ACO is, just making that decision. So there's an approval process for that, approval and justification process, and that's all going to be documented, so we can go back and look at those justifications and always be able to say, well, this, you know, how many dogs were euthanized and why, and make sure that the proper sign-offs were done. Again, interagency cooperation, you know, we want to collaborate with vetted nonprofits and other government agencies for transfers and adoptions to avoid euthanasia if at all possible. Sanitation, there's daily cleaning, waste disposal, pest control, again, logging all the activities, and then there's some record retention policies in there for that. Security, there's security guidelines in the SOP. Documentation guidelines, which I think are going to be really important. That's one of the big issues that we had, is we've had a hard time finding all the documentation, and so going forward, we need to have good documentation of everything that we're doing, so that we can be really transparent with the way that things are going, and there's never any question again about what's going on at the Silsbee Animal Control Facility. So, you know, maintain per dog records, adoption records, logs of care, logs of feeding, logs of cleaning, logs of everything that we do out there. Retain those records, make them available for inspections upon when we need them. Then we keep track of the compliance and training. There is actual required training for an animal control officer. There's 12 hours per year, and then continuing education. So it's 12 hours. He actually has to go to a class within his first year, 12 hours, and then there's 30 hours of continuing education every 3 years after that. And then, you know, the Director of Public Works will be required to keep track of that, and we will have procedures for requesting the training and going to the right classes and all that. And then finally, emergency procedures and emergency, contacts, evacuation procedures, rabies reporting procedures. So basically, the way that this all works is you guys are gonna look at it, make any changes, come back next meeting to talk about any changes or any suggestions that we have, and we can talk about those. And then I will have a resolution ready for the next meeting to approve it pending any changes that you make, and we will put it into place the next meeting. And
Can I ask one question though? So, the 3 days,